Kisuk Wislam, Kisuk Kukin, Kisuk Quiet. Welcome back, everyone, to another wonderful Warrior Wednesday. I'm your host, Kansuke Tashmiet, also known as Peter Not So White. And if this is your first time tuning in to the podcast, welcome. And if you are already a wealthy warrior, if you're one of the OGs, Sukani for tuning in again this week. You may have noticed a bit of a change on the intro, and if you listen to this via a podcast app, you notice the new album art. I sat down last week and decided it was time to update the art, and I really enjoy it. I really love the album cover, and it still depicts the medicine wheel with the blue and the black in it, and I just really enjoy it. Really love it. And even the intro video, the music, I had to change over. Even though I do have written copy, like a written approval from the artist on the other song I was using, every week on YouTube I was getting flagged with a copyright infringement. And it was a process and a half just to get it removed, even though like every week it was the same thing. Every week podcast uploaded, every week, it would take 2 attempts for them to undo it and let me go with it. It just adds a lot of extra work that I just don't need to be doing right now in my life. So I picked this song to the intro because it has a big meaning to me. I've only been dancing now 6 years, almost 7 now, I believe. May, long weekend, which is the 3rd weekend in May, is when I started dancing. So that's my 1 year around the circle. And speaking of months, we are April 19th as this video airs. We are a third of the way through this year. Have you started to work on your dreams? Have you started, if you were one of those people that started a list they wanted to do or had a New Year's resolution, did you start it? Did you already stop? I hope not. I hope you haven't stopped, and I hope you start after this episode. Because I'm living proof and living by examples in more than one way. This intro video that I uploaded, the song to it, was from this past summer on the Powwow Trail. And it was from Morley, Alberta. Memorial Day celebration powwow. And they had this big men's traditional special. And then I just kept moving along in the special. And I've only been dancing 6 years now. And I just kept moving along, kept getting picked, kept going in. And then they cut it down to the top 10 dancers. And they just started to like pick dancers off the floor, like shake, not really pick them off, but shake their hand, and one by one every dancer started to go off. And then I kind of got down to, it was like the top 4, And I started to look around and I was like, wow, there are some really, really good dancers out here. And I just have to give it my all. You know, just dance your hardest. Leave it all out on the floor. Don't have any excuses if you get picked sooner than later. Just leave everything out there. And I danced harder. And I pushed myself. And then as it cuts into it, on that video, they had just picked third place. And it came down to myself and another dancer called Bobby Hunter. And Bobby is a phenomenal dancer. You know, I look up to this dancer. He's a really, really good dancer. And I'm like, wow, I really gotta like just put it on, like no holding back. And then I was picked for first. And it just blew my mind away. Like, I've only been dancing for such a short time. And I started with what I had, 6 years ago, almost 7 years ago. The same thing with my podcast. I started with a phone, editing on my phone, and I started with the mic that I have right now. But I started with what I had. I jumped onto Canva, created the album art, jumped through all the hoops that it takes to get listed as a podcast. Shout out to the people that put my podcast on is Buzzsprout. This isn't a paid advertising by them, but they basically direct my podcast. I send this podcast, I upload it to them, and then they direct it to everywhere else. And when I first started my podcast, I never realized that it's a lot of work to start one up. And it took me like several hours to figure it out. But when I figured it out, I felt so relieved. I felt so happy that I took that time to do it, to go forward with my dream, to listen to my heart, to listen to my intuition. And that's what this podcast is about. It's about following your dreams, following your desires, following your heart, sharing that gift with this world. And that satisfaction and gratitude of actually working at something and then seeing the end results. Even with my last podcast album cover, I was happy with it. But I just felt like it was time for an upgrade. I started with what I had at the time, the experience, the knowledge, and then I moved forward. And I've gotten better at my creating. I got, a new outfit. So I created this new album cover. And same thing with my dancing. My dancing has gotten better. I feel more free when I dance out there. I enjoy it. It's just a freeing experience. And if you are the person that procrastinates with starting something, saying that, hey, I can't start this because I don't have this. I don't have a studio. I don't have, a camera. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have a fancy microphone like you do, Peter. I don't have a fancy little office space like you do, Peter. I don't have this stuff. I don't have that. There's some people even with powwow dancing. I didn't wait for a roach. I didn't wait for beadwork. I didn't wait for the best outfit. I didn't wait for any of that. And some people use that as an excuse. Oh, I don't have beadwork. I don't have moccasins. I don't have this. I don't have feathers. I don't have a roach. I don't have that. But if you truly want it, you'll start with what you got, where you're at in life. And if some of you have seen my photos, and what I started with, I didn't know nothing about sewing. I knew nothing about dancing. I knew nothing. You know, and I don't have family around that knows much about powwows either. You know, my grandpa used to, but he is gone. You know, he's been passed for many years now. And people in my community, there's not very too many people that are like really seriously into powwow dancing. So I didn't really know much. I didn't know anyone. I just asked my adopted sister, my adopted mom, to help me out because I didn't know how to sew at the time. And I asked them to help me. And my sister slapped it, you know, she put her effort into helping me out with an outfit. And I made a ribbon shirt. And then I was gifted the ceremony fan from my uncle. It wasn't even a powwow fan. You know, it was a gift that he had from his dad that he had been holding on to for many years. So I just started with what I had. No roach, no beadwork, nothing. And I even went to Manitoba Mucklucks. Shout out to Manitoba Mucklucks. But I bought a pair of their just leather moccasins to dance in. And I went out there with what I had. And then, you know, I'm a true believer in Creator and the great spirits and the grandfathers, you know, and that grandfather drum and all those things. And I'm a true believer if you get out there and you put the effort in, the energy, they'll answer you. And right away, my second powwow I went to, I was gifted this roach. No, it wasn't the nicest roach, but it was still, you know, that thought of that gift, and it was better than what I had, which was nothing, right? Nothing, you know, something is better than nothing. And I was super grateful for it because he had been holding on to it for years, and he said he was waiting for someone to start dancing, and as soon as he saw me, it was like boom, he gave it to me. And you know, I wanted certain things when I started dancing. So I learned how to do leather work. I learned how to create my breastplate. I learned how to create my shield. I learned how to bead. I learned how to sew. I learned how to do all these things after the fact I was dancing. As I was dancing, I was doing all these things. And it's funny because people are like, well, I don't have beadwork. I can't start dancing. Or I'm old. I'm an adult now. I can't start dancing. But in reality, that's not the truth. You can start dancing today. If you're indigenous, you know, if you're First Nation, if you're Native American, you can start today if you have nothing. If you want to start a podcast, you can start today. Just use your phone. Like I did. Use what you got. Use a little mic from a headphone to talk into. You can start with what you have. You know, you want to become an artist. Well, figure out what you want to do and start off with it. You want to start painting. Go to the dollar store. Buy some supplies. Start from there. You know, do a shout out on Facebook or whatever. Ask people if they have any of these things laying around that they might be able to help you with. Start with what you got, where you're at. Research. YouTube. Do all these things to help you get to where you need to be in life. Just imagine I went out and I bought this phenomenal gift. Put it in a box, and I spent time to wrap it up. Put a nice bow on it, gave it a nice presentation. Then I handed it to you. And I said, here you go. But I only have one stipulation. You cannot open this for the rest of your life. Just imagine that. Imagine that you can never feel that joy and that light of that person receiving that gift. And you would wonder for the rest of your life what it was, what it could have been. That's the same thing with your goals, your desires. And I don't want you to end up on your deathbed regretting what could have been. The fear of not knowing what could have happened if you did that. Not bringing your light into this world. I want to drop some serious facts right now on you. Where do you think the richest place on earth is? I bet you will never guess where the richest place on earth is. Do you want to know? Okay. The richest place on the earth is in graveyards. Now let me explain what I mean by that. Graveyards are full of people who have passed on. Dead people, right? Most people in these places left this world without following their dreams, without sharing their gift to the world, to living life and having that regret, what could have been. And I pray that that's not you, because this world, everyone around you, everyone you're going to meet, deserves to witness your gift. The same thing goes with me and my podcast and the content I create and the dancing. You know, I've had people message me directly, thanking me. You know, I don't like to be boastful. I don't like to do these things because it feeds your ego, right? But I just want to share with you these experiences that I've experienced, that I've witnessed now, from following my gift, from taking the journey that I've been down. And I had a friend, she messaged me, I've talked about it before, and she thanked me because I saved her life. You know, when she was down and out, I shared something. When she was on the attempt of suicide, and it stopped her. I've had friends, you know, thank me because they lost weight, they got in shape. I had people message me because they started painting. I even know someone who started dancing because of the content that I shared. That's all for me following my gift by just doing it. You know, sometimes I don't get very many views on my podcast. I may get anywhere from 50 to 80 downloads right now. But 50 to 80 people could be saved through this, through that ripple effect. I never know who's listening out there. You know, when I even on my YouTube, yeah, I was just monetized, but I only have a couple hundred views. And I heard this story of this guy, I can't remember his name, but now he's well known. He was doing this he quit his job, started this podcast, started uploading them, and he was having majority of the time 11 viewers. 11 viewers. But here's the twist. Out of that 11 viewers who kept consistently tuning in to his podcast, it was Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey was tuning in and listening to him. We just never know, ever know who's going to be affected by the things we put out with our gifts. And then she reached out to him to do a TV show. And then so on and so on. Like, to work on her TV show actually began with. And now he's like, you know, he works through her network and all these things. It's pretty crazy. And we compare ourselves to that. You know, I've been there. Oh, I only get 50 views, 50 downloads, blah, blah, blah. You know, I only get a couple hundred views on YouTube. I used to look at it that way. But now I'm happy because I'm following my gift. I know my passion is helping people, even with my dancing. You know, there's the young ones, there's the little ones who look up to me, and it's crazy because, you know, I'll go around the powwow trail and I'll meet younger people, and they're just like blown away. Like even older people, just blown away that I'm there and I'm a person. And like when they talk with me, I'm actually, you know, human. You know, I take time to talk with them, to do, you know, just to give them that time because they supported me. But it's cool to see that, you know, it's amazing to see the little ones be inspired by me, you know, by other dancers, to be inspired by me, like little old pitiful Peter, not so white. You know, it's crazy how people are inspired by me, because for the longest time in my life, I grew up feeling like a mistake, like I was never enough. But now I know that's not true, and that goes for the same with you. Once you start following your passion, your light, your gift, you will leave this world brighter than when you came into it. And that's my goal, is I just want to leave this place a little bit better than I came into it. Just a little bit. And if it's a lot more, great. You know, I've exceeded my goal. And the same goes with you. Whatever your gift is, whatever you want to do in life, start with what you have and where you're at. I want to know in the comments, if you're watching this on YouTube, what your dreams are, what your goal is, what you're going to work towards this year, starting from today. Because tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow land does not exist. You know, when you say I'm going to do tomorrow, oh tomorrow, no tomorrow, tomorrow never comes. So comment down below your goals, your dream, your desire. And if you don't know where to start, reach out to me. I might not know the answer, but I may know someone who does, or may have some content that can help you out. I can do something to help you with whatever I can to get there. This is your year. This is your year. So with that, I'm going to end this podcast. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, the like, comment. Let's get this community growing. And if you're listening to this through podcast on the downloads, thank you. But also go over to YouTube and check out my new intro video, because it means a lot to me, you know. So I will check back in with you next week. I hope you are a week into working towards your dreams and your goals and your desires on Winnegit Dagas. And remember, everything always happens for the right reasons. Take care, all my wealthy warriors.